What's good, homies? We are live from sunny South Central Los Angeles, California. As always, I am Mark, and I'm a recovering codependent narcissist. I'm really grateful to know that love exists in this world, especially love between, like men and women, that yin yang, that balance, the balance of opposites. Because I'm really grateful to know that one day a woman will love me just as much as I love her. I'm not talking about words here, homie. I'm talking about actual feelings, emotion, passion. I've had plenty women, I've had plenty of women in my life say that they love me, but when it comes to having the emotions and feelings associated with love, it's always been lacking or absent, really. Um, I have so much love to give, and rarely, I mean, let's be honest, I never give that love to myself, and I need to change that. One of my friends, she wanted to get a dog, but she said she didn't want to get one yet because she didn't have a big enough apartment. And I told her to take all the love that she wanted to give that dog and give it to herself instead. And I need to take my own mother love and advice, man. I have some pretty good shit sometimes. So that's what I'm doing. I'm taking my own advice and learning to love myself, to fall in love with myself. Because until very recently, I thought I was unlovable. I thought I was unlovable basically my entire life. When I grew up, there was no unconditional love in my house. There's no unconditional love from my parents. Not personal, homie. They didn't receive it from their parents, so they didn't know how to show it. Again, not personal. But as a child, it's traumatic. It's traumatic when your parents don't have that programming for unconditional love. I have a lot of empathy for my parents for what they went through because they didn't receive unconditional love. It's more difficult, even more difficult. I don't know. It's difficult when you don't receive unconditional love from your mother because by definition, mothers are supposed to have that unconditional, loving, nurturing gene inside of them. Or I don't know if it's a gene really, I'm not a scientist, but they're supposed to have that in them. It's part of hardwiring of being a woman, being a mother. Mothers are supposed to be unconditionally loving to their children. But my mom is, emotionally unavailable. Love from my mom was always conditional. It was always conditional upon some level of perfection that neither I knew, and now that I'm learning more, my mom didn't know, doesn't know either. It's impossible. There's no such thing as perfection. If you're trying to strive for perfection, you're trying to hit a goal, and you've lost the point that you need to be learning and growing your entire life. There's no level of perfection. It's impossible. I remember, things like getting a 92% on a test and being pretty proud about it. But my mom wondering why I didn't get a 98. So I learned to quickly, stop caring about putting in effort. I learned to stop caring about trying because what was the point? It was a law of diminishing returns. Other stories. I remember walking across PCH, Pacific Coast Highway out here in California. It was completely empty, which is rare for the PCH, but I didn't want to walk to the crosswalk. It's completely empty. I walked across, and like a meter maid pulled up to me in like one of those three-wheeled cart things and almost gave me a jaywalking ticket. I don't even know if they can give me a jaywalking ticket, but they threatened to give me a jaywalking ticket. And when my mom caught up with me, she looked at me and told me that I should have gotten a ticket. There was no like, yeah, it was very matter of fact. I should have gotten a ticket. There was no sticking up for me. Um, yeah, my mom was just emotionally unavailable. I don't think she ever really told a joke. I remember pulling one prank at my expense when I was 8 years old. She put coal in my stocking, my Christmas stocking, and she thought that was really funny. She thought that was a funny joke, and for a child, I cried my eyes out, especially for a child that their mom had never had any sort of humor or joking, funny bone inside of them. I cried my eyes out. I felt so ashamed. I really felt ashamed a lot by my mom. I felt that she'd always try to embarrass me, or, just I felt a lot of shame. So I've taken all this and into my life and thought that maybe if I reached some impossible level of perfection, maybe then a woman would want to love me, to be there for me emotionally. Maybe then I could prove to a woman that I am lovable. Because I'm always attracted to emotionally unavailable women. These things that I've taken from trying to receive love from my mother, this has become my emotional set point. I'm not attracted to women out of love, quite the opposite. I'm attracted to them by fear. I really am attracted to women that are just unavailable, and it's not personal. I try and love them. I do love them, but I'm hoping that one day that they might see me. They might show me some genuine love and not just say the word love like I always get. Maybe they'll show me some sort of genuine affection or nurturing that I've always been looking for my entire life. But it's really not in their programming either to be this way. They have mostly narcissistic traits. It's in their programming. It's not personal. So all that love that I want to give all of these emotionally unavailable women, I'm going to start giving it to myself instead. All the love that I give these narcissistic women in my life, like I said, I'm going to give it to myself. How? How am I going to do this? I have no clue. Honestly, no clue. It's a work in progress. I don't really have a template or a program on how to love myself in a healthy way. I realized this when I was at this party. I was at a great party on Saturday. And I realized that I didn't even know how to really have fun at a really great party. I'm constantly in my head. I'm constantly analyzing. I'm constantly thinking. My intellect is always going. So what I did at this party is I decided to shut that sucker down, man. I shut down that intellect and opened my heart and just enjoyed myself for like the first time in maybe I don't know, first time in a long time, first time in forever, possibly. Because honestly, I can't remember the last time I really had a lot of fun. Because even when I'm doing something that's like, hey, you're having fun, you're whatever, I'm so negative. I have so much negative self-talk that while the experience objectively might be considered fun, from my point of view, man, it was hell. It was a lot of hell. It was a lot of beating myself up. It was a lot of shit. It wasn't that fun. So I'm making a new point to have more fun. Honestly, to have more fun. That seems like pretty simple, but for me, it's pretty groundbreaking, honestly. I need to observe my thoughts even more closely. I need to become even more aware of any sort of negative self talk. Because what I realize is that negative self talk is constant. There's no like switching in between negative and positive self talk. It's mostly negative in one way or the other. It might not be like outright negative, Mark, you suck, but it might be a little bit of passive aggressive, or it's definitely not nurturing, you know. So I'm really making it a point of awareness and a point of focus to switch this into just some loving affirmations. Loving affirmations such as, Marky, I love you. You're good enough. Marky, you're doing a great job. You're doing your best, and your best is pretty fucking good, so keep it up. But not only do I need to say these affirmations, say these words in my head, that's part of the way. And maybe honestly, like a really small part. Because what I need to do is feel the emotions associated with these affirmations. I need to feel love when I say these things to myself. That's the fucking key, homies. It's feeling. That's the mother loving key. Feeling, 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 feeling. It's to feel. Feeling puts me into the correct, loving, vibrational state. And I have complete control over my feelings and emotions. That's pretty rare for anyone to have complete control over anything in their lives. But I'm not a victim, suckers. So I'm taking control back from my programming. Because that's not me. It's not me. I'm a much more loving person than I think I am. So I'm learning to fall in love with myself, which sounds like the most narcissistic thing possible. But I assure you that it's probably not. Maybe a little bit. Can't deny it. But it's something that I need right now. Because I'm tired of suffering. I'm tired of living that programming, that story that I'm unlovable. I'm tired of being in that lack vibration. I'm over that shit, homies. I'm so over that shit. I'm so grateful for love. Law of attraction is a real thing. It's just for real, homies. How could I ever expect someone to love me if I don't love myself? It's not possible. It's not possible. It's not how the universe works. It's not how law of attraction works. So I'm making a point to fall in love with myself today, every day. And the more repetitions that I put into loving myself, the more I will love myself. And eventually I can rewrite that negative story of the fact that I think that I'm unlovable. Because that shit ain't true, homie. So thank you for letting me be vulnerable. I know you can't tell, but I'm like crazy sweating, fierce sweats right now out of my armpits. So I know this is something I had to deal with. It was a fear that came up, and I really need to focus on it and to change. And I can't just act more loving to myself. I actually have to be more loving to myself. I'm a mother loving human being, not a human actor. So thank you for letting me be vulnerable. Thank you for letting me share, and thank you for letting me be of service. Sending love to everybody that comes across this message. Honestly, if you find this message, you are searching for something, for truth, for love, for growth. And I hope my message, me being vulnerable, gives you the courage to be vulnerable yourself, empowers you to find your own truth and to speak it. And in doing so, it's possible to heal these programs. But don't take my word for it, homies. Try it out yourself. See how it feels. Feels. Thank you.